There's Commissioner Doscher.
Okay. You tell me when I'm ready, Doug.
We're live.
Go ahead. Jackie, you can go ahead.
Okay. So welcome to the Sutter County Planning Commission, December 16th, our regular meeting. And I'd like to call this to order.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Doug Libby. I'm the Principal Planner for Sutter County. We have a little housekeeping I need to read into the record. Procedures for public participation. As a result of the continued threat of COVID-19, the coronavirus, the Sutter County Planning Commission meeting will be conducted via a web-based virtual meeting over the internet and may be accessed by PC or smartphone. Access to the live stream of this meeting can be provided at the following link, which is an https www.youtube.com/c/County of Sutter CA, and persons may provide written public comments during the meeting that will be read into the record. For those unable to attend in person, please submit your comments via email by 4 p.m. the day of the Planning Commission meeting, and public comments can be emailed to planningcomments@co.sutter.ca.us and will be forwarded to the Planning Commission, which they have been, I should note. Please identify the agenda item you wish to address in your comments. And so that would be it. Madam Chair, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Davitt. Commissioner Manuel.
Here.
Commissioner Doscher.
Here.
Commissioner Marlar.
Here.
Commissioner Stewart.
Here.
Commissioner Shannon.
Here.
Chairperson Silman.
Here. All right. We now need approval of minutes. Have you been able to look over the minutes? And can I get any comments?
Through the chair, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Madam Chair, just for the record, could I ask who seconded that motion?
Oh,
Mr. Manuel.
Thank you, Commissioner Manuel.
thank you. Okay, any member of the audience wishing to address the commission regarding topics not on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission may do so at this time. However, no action may be taken on items not appearing on the agenda unless provided for in state law. Is there any comments?
So, Madam Chair, we have received no request for public comment ahead of the meeting. And so I refer to our clerk, Crystal. Do you have any public comments yet coming in?
No, I do not.
Okay.
All righty, so I'm going to public hearings. Project U-20-009, a tentative subdivision map to divide 9.9 acres into 5 estate residential lots ranging in size from 1.71 acres to 2.19 acres ER estate residential, located at the southwest corner of Markley Road and North Township Road, Yuba City, CAAPN 13253074. Applicant Interwest Homes Corporation, owner Scott family, etc. A mitigated negative declaration has been prepared. Okay, staff.
Okay, Madam Chairman, this is Steve Geiger, planner with Development Services. What I'm now going to try to do is share my screen so that I make the graphics available to everyone here. So if you just bear with me here for just a minute. Okay. Is everyone able to see those slides there?
Yes.
Okay. So just by way of setting the location of this site, the 9.9 acre site is located at the southwest corner of Township and Markley Road. It was previously developed with a peach orchard, which has since been removed from the property. The property is located outside, but it's adjacent to the western boundary of the Yuba City sphere of influence. Now, by way of background regarding this property, the previous 2015 general plan, which was adopted in November of 1996, had designated this property as agriculture 20-acre minimum. During preparation of our current 2030 general plan, a property owner in the area requested that his property, along with the subject property and other properties that are bordered to the north by Markley Road, to the east by North Township Road, to the south by Butte House Road, and to the west by Hallett Road, be redesignated to estate residential. The property owner's request was granted by the Board of Supervisors, and the area was redesignated to estate residential as part of the adoption of the 2030 general plan in March of 2011. The project site is bordered to the northwest by a 10-acre parcel that is planted with a walnut orchard. The zoning code, Article 19, establishes minimum buffer distances for non-agricultural uses, such as residential subdivisions from existing adjacent agricultural uses. In the case of this application, the applicant is required to provide a minimum 300-foot agricultural buffer between the proposed residential uses and the property lines of the agricultural parcel adjacent to the northwest, where the walnut orchard is planted. Forward here. On the screen now, you should be seeing the subdivision map submitted by the applicant. This dashed line represents the 300-foot buffer and how it impacts the subject property. Again, the walnut orchard being located up on this property here. So this is the buffer line there. So to avoid impacts from this existing ag operation to the northwest, new residences on proposed lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be required to be located outside of this 300-foot buffer line. Now, the applicant can put accessory structures within that buffer, but residential uses are required to remain outside of that buffer. New development on the 5 proposed lots is required to address drainage impacts by retaining runoff on site so that post-development flows do not exceed pre-development levels. The project engineers provided preliminary drainage calculations for the project to development services, and these calculations demonstrate the site is capable of accommodating drainage created by the project, including peak 10 and 100-year storm capacity, without impacting neighboring properties. The engineering division has reviewed the calculations and found the conclusions to be acceptable. The tentative subdivision map shows proposed locations of drainage ditches at the front of each proposed lot. These drainage ditches will serve as detention basins that will hold drainage water and release it at a rate that does not exceed existing drainage off the site. The applicant's required to prepare a drainage study to address specific detention and drainage needs. In addition, the applicant will be required to construct the private on-site drainage ditches that provide adequate storage for storm drain runoff as determined by the drainage study. The property owner will be required to enter into a private drainage facilities maintenance agreement with Sutter County to maintain the private drainage facilities to ensure that peak 10 and 100-year storm capacity for the approved drainage study for the project. Potable water is proposed to be provided by individual wells that will be constructed on each parcel under permit and subject to applicable state and county ordinance requirements. Wastewater service will be provided through the use of individual on-site septic and leach field systems designed and installed under permit by the Development Services Environmental Health Division in compliance with state law and local ordinance requirements. Access to the proposed lots will be provided by either Markley Road or North Township Road. North Township Road is classified as an urban collector by the county's general plan, and Markley Road is classified as a local road. The general plan technical background report lists an average daily traffic count of 2,350 on a level service A for this section of North Township Road. The proposed project will generate approximately 48 additional daily vehicle trips to both North Township and Markley Roads. This additional amount of traffic is minimal, and the project will not result in a change to the current level of service. The Development Services Engineering Division has reviewed the project and commented that no additional right-of-way and no widening of North Township or Markley roads is required. The proposed project is consistent with the general plan, including general plan goals LU1, AG1, and AG2, as well as the policies from the land use, agricultural resources, and mobility elements that are listed in your staff report. I will note that staff did receive, and those have been forwarded on to the commissioners, a total of 5 comment letters. 3 of them were received on November 18th, just prior to the first scheduled meeting. Those are from Greg Johnson, Carlene Clark, and Vanessa Stockett. 2 other comments. One was received yesterday from Ben and Ruby Ivy, and then one today from Lori and Clay Goodell. So this would conclude my presentation. I will stop sharing my screen here. Are there any questions?
Okay, do we have any questions from the commissioners?
I have none.
Since township is going to be a truck route now, which it always has been, we don't feel the need for a turn lane on the Markley Road with that being a truck route, since that's the main artery, I guess, up to township and out to the north, and then to Pease going out to the east.
Right. This project doesn't warrant the requirement for a turn lane off of township onto Markley.
Okay.
Madam Chair, this is
Thank you,
Doug
Steve.
Libby. I also wanted to provide input that
Hold on, Doug. We got a lot of backward. Somebody's talking. I can hardly hear you. Should we mute?
okay. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that although the township does receive truck traffic, it is not what's called a stay route, which is the longer commercial trucks. So those trucks are not legal to operate on Township Road.
Okay. Is there any other questions of the commissioners? Richard, Jana? Okay. Commissioner Stewart, you're good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to open this for a public hearing. And are there any applicants or their representatives here to speak?
Sean, just so you know, you're on mute.
Thank you.
Sean Menard with MH Engineering, and we're here representing Interwest Homes on the project. We've been working with the county staff since we submitted this in May of 2020 and worked through all the conditions and environmental health on the leach fields and septic areas. And we have no issues with the conditions placed on the project. We worked on the ag buffer. We'd like to see it less, but we understand the ag buffer requirements and rules, and we accommodated the project and actually reduced the number of lots we have had originally to accommodate the ag buffer to meet that requirement. And one of the things we did do is we tried to limit the number of lots facing Township Road because we know it's a little bit busier than Markley. So there's only one house onto Township Road, and all the rest directly face, and the main entrance most likely for the houses will be off Markley. So out of the 5 lots, 4 will be off Markley and 1 off Township. So if you have any other questions, I can try to address them. But, I guess the biggest item we had to do is address the drainage. This site really had no drainage ditches or canals or ditches. And it basically built up, sheet flowed across the road, and that's how the water released from this area. So a combination of building all these ditches, and which actually will retain the water to a 100-year storm event and mitigate it out to the historic outflow. In a 10-year storm event, basically no water has to leave the site. So, but they're also not like holes in the ground where it's going to be a mosquito or a abatement issue. we have positive drainage, so they won't hold water during the summer and non periods when it's not raining. So they're not going to be ponds where there's a standing water. So they're designed to have positive flow out. So if you have any other questions, I'll try to answer them.
This is Commissioner Silman. Doug, I was wondering about Lori Goodell's questions, and I don't know if Sean got those questions or not today.
He did?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And her question is how many driveways we're going to have. For instance, their house has 3 driveways for her parcel directly across the street. Actually, Interwest built the house. I don't know for them, but built that house about 15 years ago, I believe.
Okay.
She has, or they have 3 driveways. How many driveways will each parcel have? If it's like her house, they have a U-shaped driveway and a secondary access. The way, if you notice how we laid it out, you can see different gaps in the ditch around the lots. We roughly left 2 driveways locations out to the road. One being the primary driveway, which would probably be cement or concrete, or it could be a U-shaped driveway just like hers. But most likely it'll be a single concrete driveway with a secondary one for, these are big enough lots so they can have agriculture or ranchette type features on the property. But so roughly we have it laid out for 2, but we don't know that answer exactly. But it'd be very similar to her house.
What about her question about being a gated community?
There's no gated community.
Okay. Because I think you answered pretty much the other ones. Does anybody else have any questions for Sean? Okay. So.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I got to find my notes again, everyone.
So, Madam Chair, this is Doug.
Yes.
The public hearing has been opened. The applicant has provided some input. So now I think we should open it up for any public comments coming in through our live stream.
Thank you. Yes. Let's do that.
And through the chair, I think Janice Shannon had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jana. Go ahead. I just now saw your hand. Go ahead, Jana. Jana, do you have your mic?
Okay, I was muted. Sorry. Sean, could you elaborate a little bit more on the drainage, what you have done overall for all the drainage in that area?
Yeah, so what we've done is in accordance with the county criteria, we first calculated how much water came off this property in the smaller events, like a 10-year event, all the way through a 100-year event. And that was like our base, condition. And then we consider development of this property, even though, it's about 10 acres. Very little of the land's going to actually be developed when proportionally to the 10 acres, because, they're going to build a 40 by 50 house pad, and for the rest is going to roughly stay about the same. But we conservatively assumed a certain percent of the lot was developed, and then that was the new runoff that came off the property. So then we sized the detention ponds such that it mitigated or retained the property or the water, or detained it for a period of time, such that the water leaving the site is the same or greater, or same or less than it was historically. By doing that, because we had to handle the 100-year storm event, the large event that's like 6 inches of rainfall in a 24-hour period. During the smaller events, we will have almost no runoff. And so coming from the site. So that's basically how we sized all the drainage. Also, to take into a factor to consider is the soil is very, very good, especially further to the west. It's almost sand. So we didn't really consider a lot of that the soil is so sandy. A lot of it will seep into the ground anyways. And that's one reason this worked kind of without any drainage system at all before our project. And so we didn't consider that in our factors. We looked at how much went off and then sized it accordingly. So nothing more. And I feel confident that smaller events will have less coming off this site after construction of the facilities.
Thank you.
So Doug, am I ready to open it for public comment or questions or?
Yes, the public hearing is open, and I would then defer to Crystal and just read any comments we've received through the live stream.
Thank you. Crystal?
Okay, I've received one from Fran Kennedy. It states, dangerous traffic is a concern on North Township Road now. Is this not a concern when making turns onto Markley?
Okay. And who would like to?
And that's the only one I have so far.
Sean, do you want to answer that, or staff? Or do you want to take that?
I think Doug or Scott Riddle on the 4 additional lots that I can see doesn't add a lot of traffic. So I'll let Doug or Scott answer that question.
So basically, this is Scott Riddle with Sutter County Development Services Engineering Department. So looking at the number of trips that are being generated by these additional lots, it doesn't generate enough trips to really warrant any kind of a turn lane. There's always a concern with the amount of traffic that's on township, but with this small of a development, it poses a lot less risk as far as the turning movements with regards to turning into Markley. You're not really going to see anything different than what you have there currently.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, the only thing I would add also is that, we do live in an agricultural area, and seasonally we will see increases in traffic that we all have to be mindful of. And so I think, as Steve noted in his presentation, the level of service of both roadways are not going to be diminished by the proposed project.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to now close the public hearing. And how about comments or follow-up questions from the commissioners? And I don't see any hands up or anybody. All good. Okay. Oh.
I have another one, again, from Fran Kennedy. Is this an opportunity to address the concern?
I'll defer to you, Doug.
Well, it's an opportunity to provide public comment, and staff has responded to the public comment that has been made.
Okay. All right. So I'm ready for a motion. So if anyone would like to make that motion?
Through the chair.
Yes, Commissioner Dosher.
Considering that the service levels will remain at A, and believing that the interested parties, including letters and comments on the video, have been addressed, I would move approval of staff's recommendation on the project as indicated.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
I heard Jana Shannon second. All right. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Manuel.
No.
Commissioner Dosher.
Yes.
Commissioner Marlar.
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart.
Yes.
Commissioner Shannon.
Yes.
Chairperson Silman.
Yes. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Nick Deal, Deputy County Counsel. Would you just please close the public comment for the record?
I'm close the public comment. Is there anything else I need to say?
No.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So we're moving on to miscellaneous business from the staff.
Madam Chair, we're requesting cancellation of the first meeting in January 6th. That means that our first meeting of next calendar year will occur on January 20th, where we do have 2, maybe 3 items to come before the commission.
All right. And any other business or reports?
There has been no action through the chair. There's been no action at the Yuba City Planning Commission since last we met. Well, we have a special meeting tomorrow night just to catch up on some ministerial duties, and I think there's one project on there.
Okay. For me, I know that the new supervisor, Carm Baines, is actually asked me to help him look for a commissioner to replace me. So that's very nice. Hopefully I'll be on the January 20th meeting and we'll go from there. So that's where I'm at right now. So with that, I'm looking to close the meeting. Anybody? Everybody?
Okay.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
See you all.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry
Everyone.
Christmas. Have a COVID-free holidays.
Yes. Thank
Too
you.
late. Too late.
Good.
Bye. Oh, yeah. Too late for you, Richard. Bye. Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry Christmas.